To the non-critical thinkers out there that are actually buying Donald Trump and Nicki Minaj's BS when it comes to speaking out against the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, I'm going to ask you two very simple questions and then the floor is yours. If Donald Trump cares about Christians being persecuted in Nigeria so much, why did he block them from migrating to the United States and stop them from being able to gain a legal pathway to safety in the United States when they were fleeing Nigeria in 2020? That's number one. And number two, if Nicki Minaj cares about lives being lost so much, then why is she only speaking out on behalf of Christians that are dying when there's more Muslims being killed than actual Christians in the northern region of Nigeria by terrorist organizations like ISWAP and Boko Haram? Why is she only prioritizing one group when there's another group that has higher death tolls? Ask yourself that. The floor is yours.
Was there no one more qualified, no one more highly regarded, or somebody with the actual prestidigitation to speak to the UN and represent the United States other than Nicki Minaj? Because quite literally, when was the last time this woman spoke out about anything regarding black people in general?
Welcome on another episode, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're joining for the very first time, thank you as well for being here today. If you guys are catching up with the headlines, I know you have seen this. And if you haven't, let me just tell you that Nicki Minaj has finally stepped into a political spotlight. And not just anywhere, but at the United Nations. She was seen standing beside the members of the Trump administration, speaking out about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. And I know now that that sounds like a strong humanitarian move on the surface, but it is the alignment with Trump that has gotten everyone talking. So many are talking about how she could have done this without having to attach herself with Trump, without having to stand with a man who has several charges. Because now, instead of us to focus on the message, she's forcing us to focus on the messenger. Check this out, you guys.
Nicki MAGA Minaj showed up to speak to the UN on behalf of the Trump administration to grandstand about protecting Christians in Nigeria. And now her delusional left behind her fans are trying to tell me that she's just speaking out against persecution and injustice. Let's be clear. This woman won't utter a single word against the injustice her own LGBTQ and immigrant fans are facing under this very administration she's representing this year. But you want me to believe she's suddenly concerned with Christian Nigerians, many of whom have asked the U.S. to stop meddling in their affairs. She won't even call for protections for her own fans being targeted here at home, but suddenly she's a martyr for causes elsewhere? No, she's doing exactly what she was brought there to do. Help this administration manufacture consent to justify stealing resources from Nigeria. And for anyone still trying to claim this is bipartisan, she's not working with Trump. MAGA Minaj spent a solid part of her 4-minute speech glorifying the president and thanking him for protecting so-called religious freedom. Let's not forget this entire premise is a right-wing conspiracy theory they continue to push. These people couldn't care less about religious freedom. If they did, they wouldn't let Israel bomb churches out of existence. They wouldn't justify ICE beating the crap out of pastors and ministers protesting mass deportations. So if you want to be delusional about where she stands or try to convince yourself that she's a martyr for black Christians in Nigeria, go ahead. But the rest of us with common sense can clearly see when someone is MAGA.
Nicki Minaj is in her red hat era of her Kanye journey. Same path. She's in the red hat portion. And the world is very transactional. I'm not going to keep y'all here long. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. What I would have preferred, though, is that Nicki Minaj should have used her own birth country, Trinidad, as the bargaining chip here. She could have easily cozied up to the administration by saying, hey, I support you bombing the hell out of Trinidadian waters. And that would have been fine. Rather than hijacking something she's not that informed about, right? The geopolitics, of places like Nigeria, the tribalism, the religious violence, and understanding, what makes things move there, as well as the, let's be honest, inept nature of the Nigerian government and how its citizens, including those abroad like myself, need to be able to help that country be better. But however, you just go ahead and run around and you just throw your name behind something that you don't really quite understand, and you aren't actually helping the nation itself, because you are lobbying for a government in which we know, as transactional as it can be, it's at best inefficient, right? The Trump administration. So there's that. I don't hurt her speech. I actually have no problem with how it's written, but that's the nature of what's going on here. All right, good talk.
Nicki Minaj is the perfect example of why people say all skin folk ain't kinfolk. To start with the obvious, she just got done demonizing Nigeria to the United Nations on behalf of the President of the United States. I would be as shocked as I am appalled if I didn't already have the opinion that Nicki Minaj is not necessarily the best human being. There's something about a millionaire non-U.S. citizen who came here as an undocumented immigrant supporting the most undocumented immigrant deporting president who literally built a secret police to target people just like her, plus all of the people with weird cases around her that never really sat right with me. And it's especially interesting coming out of the very public confrontation she just had with Cardi B, where they were calling each other's kids slow and ugly and all of that. Like, I genuinely don't care about Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj. Yes, they have their personal issues, but with this development, I've actually come to the realization that I have to pick a side. Cardi B is known to be a low-key politics and history person, and needless to say, that awareness puts her on the opposite side of Nicki Minaj when it comes to politics. And at a time in American politics when it's literal fascists versus everybody else, it's crazy to think that supporting Nicki Minaj is supporting fascism. But Nicki Minaj clearly supports fascism, and in turn puts you in that position by supporting her. And make no mistake, I like Nicki Minaj's actual music more than I like Cardi B's, but I might really just have to go spin that new Cardi album out of spite in light of all it is.
Nah, Nicki Minaj. If you're actually standing up against injustice, you would not be finding yourself in bed with Donald Trump. You would not be aligning yourself with a man who's a 34-time convicted felon, found legally liable of SA, who is thought to be a known freakazoid with Jeffrey Epstein. You would not play emotional support coon to that man and go in front of the United Nations and spread his lies that all of a sudden Nigerian Christians are being unalived at a disproportionate rate by a terrorist group. Nigerian government officials have come out and said this is not true. International officials have come out and said that this is not true. And while there does appear to be a terrorist disturbance going on in Nigeria, they are not strictly going after Christians. But if you were a principled person, you would have enough principle to be relatively shocked about what you've seen in America over the past 11 months, especially as a New Yorker. You would be appalled at seeing ICE rip away citizens from their families, rip away those who are here legally and those seeking asylum away from their families under cover of night. You would be appalled that ICE is literally disappearing people. You would be appalled that Donald Trump and his government found it totally acceptable to have the longest government shutdown in recorded United States history. You would be appalled that healthcare premiums are going up for everyday Americans, making it so it's almost impossible for them to seek medical care and treatment. And from a personal perspective, Nicki Minaj, if you were really standing up against injustice, then you would not be with your husband, Kenneth Petty, a man who was literally charged and is a convicted sex offender. If you were a person who was standing up against injustice, you would have been speaking out long before now. But we know what the play is. The money running out. You ain't been making music in a while. And quite frankly, your fans are no longer tolerating you going after every other black female rapper who comes up and outshines you. So now what do? Instead of continuing to pump out more music, you are now just a parrot for Donald Trump. You hate to see it.
Nicki Minaj just gave her speech at the United Nations an hour ago, y'all. And I was cool with her speech until she thanked Donald Trump. Her speech was good, but when she thanked Trump, that just ruined it for me. Nicki may not say that she's full MAGA, but you know that you're only there because of Trump. You're literally only there because of Donald Trump, because nobody else was going to invite you. You want to stop genocide in Nigeria, but Trump don't like immigrants. Literally, you have immigrants in your family, and you got fans that are immigrants. You was thanking the Barbs in your speech, and you have a lot of Barbs that are immigrants. So I just didn't understand that. Like, I would have felt better if you would have just thanked the White House, but you thanking Trump after he has ruined the lives of so many immigrants and children. As a mother, you thinking that? I guess I don't know what her speech did for the United Nations. If it helps, I mean, I guess Nicki did a good thing, but yeah, all of that extra stuff thinking Trump was unnecessary.
Nicki Minaj joined the Trump administration at the United Nations to speak about what she believes is the unaliving of Christians in Nigeria. Now, Nicki Minaj aligning with the Trump administration should not really surprise anyone. I mean, Nicki has been Kanye West in a pink wig on Twitter for a very long time. And the one thing that I will give Nicki in this conversation is I believe that she believes that this thing is happening, and she believes that she is standing up for people who are being persecuted. Now,
I can then take a step back from that empathy space and go, you are severely misinformed as to the nuance of what is happening in Nigeria, number one. Because what is happening in Nigeria is a series of conflicts in which people are, in many ways, whether it's terrorist groups or different community groups, are having these interpersonal conflicts. And some of them do align themselves with the Christian church, but also those same groups are also having conflicts with other groups of Muslims where there have been unalivings. And so it is reductionist to just say there's a targeted Christian attack, while at the same time you can say that there are Christians who are being attacked. I have long said that Christianity has a built-in persecution complex, and I also think that there is like a ho to holy pipeline that absolutely exists in Black church spaces. I can't believe I just said that out loud. Like, ho to holy is crazy. And this is where the nuance of the conversation about wanting celebrities to participate in political discourse really gets going. Because on the one hand, I think it's very important that we recognize that celebrities are not coming to save us. No one is. It is up to us to do the work every single day to ensure that we are fighting against fascism. And at the same time, I do think it's important that when celebrities are participating in this discourse, that they're doing so from an informed perspective. Because to me, there's nothing worse than a celebrity who is using their platform, which is usually very large, and spreading some sort of disinformation or misinformation that they are then seen as an expert in because they made good music. Which is where we do land in the was silence not an option space for some folks. There are also some folks who are really good at creating artistic expressions about things that are happening, but not good about talking about things that are happening. But ultimately, I can kind of predict what's going to happen is that at some point in the next several weeks, Nicki will start beefing with somebody who was involved with the Trump administration, and then she'll declare that she was hoodwinked and she was just trying to stand up for Christians the whole time. Like, this cycle is a tale as old as time. Once again, see Kanye West circa 2019. But at least for today, she went to the United Nations. She pulled up in the monster automobile gangster with a bad chick that came from Sri Lanka. Yes, she's in the Tonka, color of Willy Wonka. You could be the king, now watch it. No, I'm playing. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
What do you guys think? One of the stage said Nicki Minaj is in a red hat era. Like, let's remember the fact that so many people from the said country have talked about how they do not want the US meddling in their business. Like, they are even more for their government doing something. Yes, there is killings going on in Nigeria. I will never stop talking about it. The killings going on in Nigeria has been going on for years. These people know exactly what they are doing. This has been going on for years. I still saw an headline yesterday that they bombed a church, literally. This has been going on for years. The Christians are not the only one affected. There have been insecurity in that country for years now. They do not understand that using Nicki Minaj to represent or pass this message across is not doing what it's supposed to do. And this is what people are talking about. And I totally get it. If they really want to speak up about things going on in Nigeria, I do not think Nicki Minaj should be a representation of that. Like, she shouldn't be someone to represent them. They are Nigerians in the United States who could have gone and represent, like, say something. Because they definitely know that this is going to spark a conversation. It will shift people's attention away from the message that is being passed and take it directly to the messenger. So I don't get the reason why they decided to pick her to go there. Maybe because of few tweets, because she gave Donald Trump his flowers for speaking up about the killings of Christians in Nigeria. So because of that, she can be a mouthpiece. Like, no other person is qualified, because now the major issue on ground is not being taken care of. People are focusing on the messenger. And with Trump history of inflammatory comments about, Africa, this is not sitting right with a lot of people at all. People are telling her to just say straight up that she is MAGA. But even the people saying that, I'm so confused. Like, what other light do you need to know that this person is pushing red? Americans are further reminding people that not because someone looks like us doesn't necessarily mean that they have for us. Honestly, it is a good idea. It is a good thing that what is going on in Nigeria, the insecurity going on in Nigeria is being talked about, but I feel like they picked the wrong person. Like, I genuinely feel like they picked the wrong person. This is the reason why you will know that these people are strategic and they are not for protecting people. They know well enough that people are going to talk about it. They know well enough that people are going to drag the fact that she was there and, dismiss the message that is even being passed across and just drag the fact she was the one there to represent to speak, to be a mouthpiece Donald Trump mouthpiece on what is going on in Nigeria. Like, people are going to be more focused on that than the actual message that they want to let known in the United Nations. And I believe that this is well calculated. I stand to be corrected, you guys. I really stand to be corrected. I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section, because I feel like they should have used someone else. If they had used someone else, people will focus on the message and what is going on and maybe help. So I do not think they want to help. If they really want to help, I don't think that is the person that they will push out to go and stand and talk about what is going on in Nigeria. So I get where all these people are coming from. I get the points that they are trying to make, because do you guys want to tell us that there's a shortage of people who can actually do that? Like, it has to be Nicki. Let me hear what you guys think in the comment section, and I am going to see you guys in the next one.